We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Boy, do we have a show for you today. We got a lot to talk about, and I definitely want to get your input as we go through the conversation, because what a weekend it was. Normally, here's the thing. Normally, I put my phone away. Every weekend, I do my best. I admittedly, I do a bad job sometimes. But I try to put the phone away.
Only sometimes.
I try to put the phone away. And Saturday morning, we woke up, and I went, oh, my gosh. And my wife says, what? And I said, no big deal. We just kidnapped the Venezuelan president. And needless to say, I was allowed to look at my phone that morning, and I didn't get any stink eye from the wife. She understood. Kidnapping is, it's a term. It's a term we could use. That was the first one that rolled off the tip of my tongue as I wiped the sleep from my eyes on Saturday morning. We just went in there and we just grabbed the guy. Badass. Can we admit for a second how badass this was? No casualties on the American side. We didn't lose any equipment at all. Whoa. Unbelievable. I know. Look at the applause. There is something to be said about an operation of this magnitude not leaking, being executed at the highest levels, that just feels, it's hard not to have a sense of patriotism and some just, golly, I'm proud of those guys, and I know you are as well. You know, before we even get into the what happens next, just what an unbelievable mission by the United States military over the weekend. But before we get into the implications, before we get into, you know, the next logical step of what happens in the country of Venezuela, a layered, multi-domain effort, air, cyber, space, ground elements, achieving a surprise attack with completely minimized risks, no casualties, unbelievable. So we had U.S. spies inside the Venezuelan government, okay, monitoring Maduro for months. Then we had cyber operations disrupting power on the ground in Caracas to create a pathway of darkness as we moved through the country. Over 150 aircraft conducted precision airstrikes on the Venezuelan air defenses, military bases, ports, warehouses, and other sites in northern Venezuela that suppressed the threats and cleared a corridor for insertion, lasting about 30 minutes. Just to think about how quickly this was all done and executed is mind-blowing. In and out in a half hour? Wild. It takes longer to get a burger in Antioch than it does to take out the Venezuelan president. And they took him alive. Whoa. So helicopters flew low, about 100 feet over water, to Maduro's fortified compound in Caracas. It's on a military base. Delta Force teams, armed with tools like blowtorches for breaching, stormed the site under heavy fire. Maduro and Flores were captured as they tried to enter a steel safe room, but couldn't secure the door. And then they were out. As quickly as they entered, they were out. Have you seen the memes? Have you seen the memes online? The episode of Stranger Things where the character comes out as gay, that speech where he talks about how gay he is took longer than it took us to capture the Venezuelan president. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It was like 6 minutes and 51 seconds to explain to everybody how gay he is, but it was 6 minutes and 31 seconds to go in and steal the president of Venezuela.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
It's pretty impressive. This is a wild thing. The operation unfolded over a single night, lasting approximately 2.5 hours, from the start of the airstrikes to the removal of Maduro. But inside that compound, 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes from the time they kicked in the door like they were Biggie Smalls waving a 4-4. They kick in the door, waving the fofo, and then Maduro ain't president no more. If you Maybe you got the reference. Maybe some didn't. That's okay.
I liked it.
Did you like the reference?
Yeah.
The White House actually put out a video of Trump with Biggie in the background. That's one of the reasons why it's top of mind.
There's
I believe.
so many good videos out there right now.
Well, because Maduro was making everybody angry because he said, "Come and get me, come and get me,"
Yeah.
and then they said, "Okay." They obliged him. They did.
It was fun watching all those videos.
Months of preparation, including intelligence from U.S. agencies, CIA, NSA, tracking Maduro's routines, building a full-scale replica of his compound for rehearsals, and then they waited for good weather. They built a full-scale Maduro compound. None of this leaked. The security apparatus here for none of this information to seep out, unbelievable. That part of that probably has to do with not telling Congress what you were doing, admittedly. But the security around the operation, unbelievable. It was about 10:46 Eastern time, 9:46, between 9:46 and 10 o'clock our time on January 2nd when Trump said go. And then at about 1 a.m. Eastern time, midnight our time, on January 3rd, that's when the power outages started happening in Caracas. And everybody said, oh, this is odd. And they said, it is Caracas. What do you know? Well, it could be anything. But it was the U.S. military moving in. The compound assault started at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, midnight. And then the capture was shortly thereafter. It was the dead of night, and they were in and they were out before anybody knew that they were there. Wild.
I think the picture of Trump with Delta Force goes incredibly hard, as the kids say.
Oh, have you seen the pictures? So they released some pictures of Trump inside Mar-a-Lago watching the raid take place. If you're watching us on Super Talk TV, we have the pictures up. This is from the White House. Eric Doherty said badass photos as Trump and his team watched the Venezuelan operation and Maduro capture in real time. He kind of talked about that on Air Force One. How much would you pay to watch the video?
$100.
And with no U.S. soldier casualties, with nothing bad happening to our side, why wouldn't they release it? Shouldn't they release it? I mean, maybe there's some.
They'll probably cut it. I mean, how many guys were involved in this? Like, as far as the actual going in, 20 or something?
Yes.
So they're probably going to cut all the best body cam footage together.
Just splice it up.
Yeah.
Splice it up. Put a highlight reel on the gram.
Just long enough for the TikTok.
I mean, the direct number of participants was about 150 U.S. personnel, including elite Delta Force operators, the primary assault team, FBI hostage rescue team members for legal apprehension, CIA operatives, and support from various branches, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force. You zoom out, though, there was a lot more broader support in the region. As you know, the buildup has been there. Thousands of U.S. troops were deployed in the region for the buildup. They weren't directly involved in the assault, but they were ready to go, as Donald Trump said, hey, just in case they were ready for a second wave. I think they thought the Venezuelans were going to have a lot more fight in them than they had. And they were pleasantly surprised when they were in and out before they had to do anything else. And when they got in and out, they lost no equipment. They lost no personnel. They said, all right, we're done. We're done here. And I just think it's one of the wildest things we have ever witnessed. And just when you thought the Trump administration couldn't get any crazier. Just when you thought 2025 was wild and 2026 couldn't get any more insane, the Trump administration said, hold my beer. Marco Rubio at the big press conference on Saturday morning had this to say about Nicolas Maduro. If you don't know, now a lot of Biggie references. Did you notice that? If you don't know, now you know. Do you think that they were jamming to some Biggie Smalls?
I think there was a report of what they were listening to, though.
What was it?
It was some hip hop. It was some rap.
I hope it was Biggie.
I don't think it was that classy.
Is it some Cardi B? Could have been Cardi B. This was Marco Rubio during the big press conference.
This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know.
Biggie reference. We should have a Biggie reference counter. Later on, we're going to be airing the Tim Walz press conference. We're going to have a little counter on the screen on YouTube for how many times he blames Trump. As we go through the Venezuela raid, we should have a Biggie reference counter. Anybody? No? Maybe it's just me.
Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States, and the president addressed it.
If you don't know, now you know. Sicker than your average. Sicker than your average. Listen, man, the timeline, the duration of the event, 2.5 hours, no casualties on our side, no equipment lost. The 150 aircraft supporting this launched from 20 bases across land and sea in the Western Hemisphere. This included fighter jets for air cover, bombers for strikes, electronic warfare planes, refueling tankers, drones for reconnaissance and support. Helicopters handled the insertion and the extraction, operated by the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. And Secretary of War Pete Hegseth laying it on the line, saying that this was the most sophisticated and most complicated operation of all time in American history, and the way they executed was unprecedented. This was Pete Hegseth over the weekend on, I think this was C-SPAN. I could be incorrect. Doesn't really matter what channel he was on. The message is what matters.
I saw the best of America. I saw men and women dedicating their lives to defending our country and to accomplishing that mission. I just landed here at Joint Base Andrews, had a chance to meet a lot of them firsthand who were involved, walked through the TikTok of what can only be described as the most sophisticated, most complicated, most successful joint special operations raid of all time. I mean, nothing of this size scope when you actually unpack what was done kinetically and non-kinetically, that many people, that many moving parts, that consequential, and they got the job done. And despite any obstacles in front of them, it is incredible to be able to serve such courageous, brave, and skilled Americans. We do right by them, and President Trump did. He gave them a clear mission, and they finished it.
Amen. That was Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. His comments on the raid, the most complicated in U.S. history. What they were able to do is unbelievable, and I think that this gets back to the war fighter ethos that they were trying to reinstill in our U.S. Armed Forces. And I think that this is also going to make a lot of kids who are wondering, what do I do with the next steps in my life, look and go, wow, the U.S. military is a viable option, and maybe that's the route I go. But on the way, I can't be the only one who was eagerly awaiting the press conference from Donald Trump. I can't be the only one who heard admittedly, it was Shane Gillis in my head, but it was Shane Gillis as President Trump. Abu, you cried like a dog, Abu. Did anybody else think that might be coming when he was talking about Maduro with the press conference Saturday morning?
Hoping for it, yeah.
I was hoping for it.
He died like a dog.
He died like, Abu, why are you crying, Abu? Why are you crying? I thought that's what we were going to get. We didn't necessarily, but he did lay the scene of how it went down. And he said some things that gave quite a few Americans a bit of heartburn. Operation aside, what happens next? There's a lot of conversation about it. We're now in control of Venezuela. We're running the country, but also the VP has been sworn in. So she's running the country while we run the country, and we're also going to take over the oil. Very confused what happens next. I don't think anybody really knows. Donald Trump is leaving his options open. He didn't say that he wasn't going to put boots on the ground. He was asked about it. He said, well, we had a lot of boots on the ground on Saturday. We had a lot of boots on the ground. We could do that again. I like that President Trump is keeping his options open. We'll play you the highlights from the Trump press conference, including what gave many Americans heartburn on the way. 921. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Up ahead, remember the seditious six? Well, one of the lawmakers directing military members to refuse orders is now learning his fate. That's coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A lot of fate. A lot of people finding out their fate today, huh, Joan?
Oh, yeah. It's the FAFO.
Oh, we got Maduro. He's going to be in court soon,
Yep.
which is just, it's still a wild scenario. We also got Tim Walz. He's dropping out today.
You right to jail.
Those darn Republicans. Those darn Republicans.
It's all because of them.
I just picture Tim Walz as like the angry villain at the end of a Scooby-Doo episode. And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids and like Nick Shirley's there holding a mask.
Yeah.
That's just how I picture it going down. Memes incoming. We'll cover that press conference later on today, 11 o'clock with Tim Walz live. In the meantime, we are talking about the raid that happened over the weekend. Were you also waiting for Trump to go out and go full Abu Baghdadi, right? Abu. You cried like a dog, Abu. Did you expect that? I was hoping for it. I gathered the kids around. I said, this could be epic. And I wanted them to be there. The kids were there. We all gathered around the TV early Saturday morning as this press conference came on. And President Trump painted the scene.
Period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military working with U.S. law enforcement successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have.
When he said that, did you also go, oh, is that so? That's the expertise we have? That's pretty base. That's pretty badass. Also, have you been watching the coverage of this? You know how you can tell someone is full of crap when they go extra heavy on the Spanish pronunciations. They're like, Presidente Maduro. It's like you've been talking just like a regular dude for 20 minutes, and now it's Maduro. Caracas. It's like pretentious. It's what a joke. What a huge joke. I like the way Trump says it. We're in Caracas. We shut the lights off. We went in there. We took him out. But President Trump said, listen, they knew that we were coming. They had an idea that the president and his men were on their way. They had been witnessing the buildup, and they were in a ready position, and yet we still executed with no casualties and no equipment lost.
Just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but
I hope we do.
It was an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest.
He's right, and it was an unbelievable accomplishment what happened over the weekend. And up until that point in the press conference, everybody was with the president. And then he did the meme. He did the look at me, I'm the captain now. He said, look at me. Look at me. I'm running Venezuela now. We'll talk about that on the other side. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Senator Mark Kelly is beginning to learn his fate after his role in the sedition video in which he and 5 other lawmakers encourage military members to refuse orders that they believe are illegal. Here he is on Meet the Press.
You can certainly go to the judge, advocate generals, the lawyers, and have a discussion about it. If you don't have time, you just say simply, I'm not going to do that. That's against the law.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth announcing today that he's taking action, initiating a retirement downgrade, which comes with a downgrade in retirement pay. It comes in a formal letter of censure, which Kelly will receive today. Metro Nashville police are trying to figure out who fired a gun outside a South Nashville nightclub early Sunday morning. It ended up killing a passerby.
Police say the 33-year-old David Valentine Jr. had just finished up a DoorDash delivery and was leaving the area where he dropped off the order. A passenger in Valentine's car heard the shots, and when she looked over at Valentine, realized he had been hit and was able to safely pull the car over. Metro Police say Valentine was taken to the hospital where he later died from his injuries.
WSMV4 Steve Mailing, Crime Stoppers is offering a $5,000 reward for information about who fired that shot. The flu is apparently pretty big this year.
In the run-up to Christmas, more than 19,000 people were hospitalized with the flu, according to the CDC, up from 10,000 the week before. Now kids are returning to school and passing germs among their classmates.
It tends to get higher around January and February.
But at the same time, says Houston Health Director Teresa Tran,
We have seen spikes in May. We've seen spikes in April. It's just really hard to tell.
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Stocks are charging ahead today after the ouster of Venezuelan dictator there, Nicolas Maduro. The Dow Jones Industrials right now are plus 643 points. That's the latest news. We've got your weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. If you're still dealing with pain, what are you doing? It's 2026. Back pain, neck pain, sciatica, herniated or bulging discs, knee pain, numbness in your arms or legs. You should leave that in 2025, and you can do that with the Wellness Institute of Nashville. See, Dr. Mitchell and his team are the first, the only office in Tennessee with a brand new device called the Hydro Wave. It stimulates stem cells for real cellular healing. No surgery, no needles, no opioids. You pair that with their non-surgical spinal and knee decompression, and this is about as advanced as it gets. They're going to use anti-gravity machines, robot lasers, and they'll actually take the time to review your MRI and explain what's happening and how to fix it. 2026 is the year you get back to a pain-free life. You can do that with the Wellness Institute of Nashville. 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009. Or find them online, painisbad.com. It's 9:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in the FM dial. You can watch the show. Super Talk TV is up and running on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, free to do. And every digital platform that you could be watching or listening on has a share button, and we ask you to do that. Hit share. Help us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. It really does help us make a difference, and we appreciate you doing so. Got a text here. You're welcome to text to the show. Call into the show, 615-737-9986. This is not a conversation that I'll shy away from at all, but I got a text from 5284. And I've seen this online a lot over the weekend. But it said, how did the Republican Party, this is from 5284, how did the Republican Party go from we're ending more wars, no more wars, we want peace, to yes, Israel, let's start war, then celebrate war, I didn't vote for Trump to start wars for Israel? I would just ask, which war did he start for Israel? Are we currently in a war? No? Oh, weird. Okay, so which of the wars that we currently aren't in did he start for Israel? Got it. Okay.
It's not like we haven't sanctioned Venezuela several times, or they owe oil companies billions of dollars from taking their property from them illegally. Not like any of that's happening.
No, and it's not like China and Russia were setting up shop in Venezuela and becoming a bit of a nuisance. Has nothing to do with that either. So we did it for Israel?
As they received oil under sanctioned tankers, flying false flags and IDs on top of the narco-terrorism.
And we did all this for Israel. I don't see it. If you happen to have a differing opinion, you're more than welcome to join the show. 615-737-9986. And I'm not even talking about like, oh, let's duke it out and I'm going to be a staunch pro-Israel defender. I'm just like, I just don't see it. I truly don't see it. If you want to talk about what's happening in Iran right now, like maybe the CIA is meddling a bit. Maybe they're helping with those protests. I don't know. I mean, it's all speculation. Still not in a war. Still not in a war. So, I don't know. Hey, if you can help me see it, call in. 615-737-986. He said, just ask Bibi what happens next. He pulls the strings. America second. Okay.
You mean the guy that was charged by his own parliament?
Yes.
Okay.
He also got another text from 7499, said, this is a repeat of the Iraq war. It's all just to steal the oil, except we didn't steal the oil in Iraq. Maybe we do steal some oil. The one thing I do hope is I hope that the oil in that country benefits the Venezuelan people. You know, it was 1992 that they were the third richest country in the Western Hemisphere. The third richest country in the Western Hemisphere. How they have fallen is just a warning sign for socialism that needs to be adhered to. But hey, what do I know? I do think that Venezuela will be stronger because of this down the road. Maybe not over the next couple of weeks. Maybe over the next couple of months it'll be a bit questionable. But I believe as we zoom out and get years away from this, Venezuela will be better for it. South America will be better for it. And if we get a leader in Venezuela that's going to be sympathetic to the United States and what we want to do, that's good for us, is it not? Am I missing something? What am I missing? What am I missing? 615-737-9986. I understand what gave people heartburn. I really do. Because it made me go, huh? As well. When Donald Trump Saturday morning, said, look at me. He did the Somali meme. He said, look at me. I'm running Venezuela now. He said the United States is going to be running the country of Venezuela until the country of Venezuela replaces Maduro. We do know that the vice president has been sworn in, but these were the immediate comments from Donald Trump the morning after the raid that captured Maduro.
Judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious, because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela, and that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States.
I get why that gives people heartburn. I truly do. And I was sitting there watching the press conference live, and I did the exact same thing. I was like, what does that mean? Well, I mean, as it stands right now, we have very little idea what that means. We're just speculating. I don't know what it means. You don't know what it means. I mean, it's up in the air. But what President Trump is doing is leaving all the options on the table. And he's not going to say that we're not going to do X and we're not going to do Y, because why would you limit your options? And if there's anybody that you can trust in this position more than any elected official that we've had in quite some time, at least for me, I'm going to trust President Trump to do the right thing. I don't know what it looks like yet. And nobody does. One thing he says is that U.S. oil companies are going to be flooding into Venezuela, and they're going to be bringing billions of dollars to repair the mistreated infrastructure of the oil companies, which I don't know if you've ever seen how quickly an oil company and refinery can go under. My wife's mother and father live in St. Croix, and I believe is it Havenza? It's something. They have a refinery out there. But, I mean, you let that thing go and you're not using it, and it falls apart quick. So there's going to need to be some infrastructure rebuild when it comes to the oil companies. And we understand that the oil companies have really been mistreated since, around 2007, when the country forced the American companies out. Well, those American companies are going back in, according to President Trump.
Going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave.
Now they're saying that the second wave probably doesn't need to happen, and they kind of made that decision on the fly that evening. The second wave isn't necessary. But the oil infrastructure is going to be rebuilt. American companies are going to go in there, and hopefully we make some money out of the deal. I know that billions have been lost to American oil companies when Venezuela took over those companies and forced the American companies out. So maybe we get some of that money back. Maybe some of the money can go back to rebuilding Venezuela as a country, and the citizens can once again get rich. But one thing is for sure, and President Trump made this point during that big press conference, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere is back. The Monroe Doctrine is back. It's now the Donroe Doctrine, but don't mess around. If you mess around, you will find out.
Our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere, will never be questioned again. Won't happen. So just in concluding, for decades, other administrations have neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in a very powerful way in our home region. And our home region is very different than it was just a short while ago. The future will be, and we did this in my first term. We had great dominance in my first term, and we have far greater dominance right now.
He's right. You know, one of the things that they actually crapped on him for in his first term was that he didn't take out Maduro. The Democrats, mind you. And we actually have the evidence of such. Chuck Schumer, this is right after President Trump's first term. He said, gee whiz, Trump couldn't even get Maduro out. This is from 2020. The same Democrat leaders are now saying that Donald Trump, he's insane for removing Maduro. It's illegal what happened. Yet in 2020, was it 6 years ago, they were crapping on the president for not getting Maduro out. Chuck Schumer, 2020.
He brags about all these things he wants to do or is doing, but his actions belie his words. Maybe the best metaphor was his claim to bring democracy to Venezuela. There was a big policy there. it flopped. If the policy was working, Juan Guaido wouldn't be in the balcony here. He'd be in Venezuela. He'd be sitting in the president's palace, or at least waging a fight to win. He's here. And the president brags about his Venezuela policy? Give us a break. He hasn't brought an end to the Maduro regime. The Maduro regime is more powerful today and more entrenched today than it was when the president began.
That was 2020. Just to lay the scene, lay the groundwork. No matter what President Trump does, the Democrats are going to come out in opposition to it. He doesn't remove Maduro, he's weak, he's ineffective. He does remove Maduro, he's a dictator, a tyrant. What are we doing? It doesn't matter what he does. They're going to yell and say the opposite. That's what they do. That's what the Democrats do. But what we saw on the ground, or how Pete Hegseth put it, Maduro kept effing around until he found out.
In the middle of the night, Nicolas Maduro had his chance, just like Iran had their chance, until they didn't and until he didn't. He effed around and he found out.
I love the vibe. I love the energy. You effed around, you found out. How many other world leaders do you think are going to be more willing and a bit more receptive to President Trump on the phone? You know, during the same press conference, they talked about the Mexican president. They talked about the Colombian president. They talked about the Cubans, if you will. And I think all of them are going to be paying a bit more attention to what the president says today than they were just a few days ago. This is American strength. This is peace through strength. I'm a huge fan of it. 615-737-9986. Let's go to Brian in Madison. What's up, Brian? How are you, man?
I'm good. Good morning. I'm in Nashville now. I'm on the road. It doesn't give me heartburn, anything he says. I mean, I don't want to be so silly that he's a god or something, because he's not. But he surrounded himself with some studs. He's a stud, and he pulls the trigger. He's 2 for 2 right now in big strikes with Iran. And so I don't understand anybody who's – you got to trust him, bro.
I'm with you.
I know you do. I know you do. You just have to trust him, though, because that guy knows way more than he gives up. And I know the media, well, why don't he tell us this and why don't he tell us that? Well, he doesn't do that because that's not his modus operandi. He doesn't operate that way. He's never going to play all his cards. And if we have to use our intimidation factor built up by real action, then let's do that. Let's save lives that way. And I'm not for going in and taking over a country, but then again, if you want to FAFO, then we might have to for temporary reasons. And I believe that's what he means when he says that. I mean, Marco Rubio, his small comment speech was awesome. Pete Hegseth, awesome. I mean, he had Sean Miller up there in that line of guys. I'm sure the CIA director was somewhere close. I didn't see Kash Patel when he had that news conference. But are you kidding me? That's a freaking genius all-star team that I'd put them up against anybody. China and Russia do not want any of this.
I'm with you, brother, and I appreciate the call. That's Brian. He's absolutely right. Marco Rubio does seem like an absolute stud. I didn't like the pick. I was so wrong. I thought he was too neocon-y, and he's been lights out. What he said yesterday, I keep saying yesterday, what he said on Saturday at the press conference after the assault, he laid down the hammer on not just Maduro, but to all the bad actors in the entire world. If you want to play games, you think the president is playing games and nothing's going to happen, well, you're dead wrong.
Other than the following points, Nicolas Maduro was indicted in 2020 in the United States. He is not the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's not just us saying it. The first Trump administration, the Biden administration, the second Trump administration, none of those three recognized him. He's not recognized by the European Union and multiple countries around the world. He is a fugitive of American justice with a $50 million reward, which I guess we saved $50 million. And
we should make sure.
Yeah, exactly. But
don't let anybody claim it.
Yeah, I mean, I would be careful. There's probably a Somalian in Minnesota filing the paperwork for that reward as we speak. 9:52 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You might have thought that it's been cold already, but it's going to get even colder. January and February bring the cold and possibly even some snow. Fingers crossed. I don't know. I know I got kids. They want to sled. But is your home ready for that kind of cold? Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling want to keep you warm and worry-free. On HVAC, you can get 0% financing for 18 months, a complimentary UV light with any new unit install, and a free 5-year labor upgrade. That's a $750 value. Plumbing, same 0% financing, plus a free 50-gallon water heater with select repipes or $600 off if not applicable, and save $600 on even more from their filtration and softener combos. Need indoor air quality? You can take 15% off UV lights when you book a premium duct cleaning. And here's the buzz. Buy one Beehive Club membership, get one for free all month long. Call my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They are going to take care of you. 615-775-7833. That's 615-775-7833. Or find them online, busybeehvac.com.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
We are expecting to hear from Minnesota Governor Tim Walz at this hour as he bows out of his re-election bid. Also, a new lawsuit over the McDonald's McRib. Wait till you hear what it's really made of. That and more at 10 o'clock here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Repeat that last headline. McDonald's is...
The McRib. There's a lawsuit.
And they found out what it's really made of.
What it's really made of. You're gonna be grossed out.
Polymarket odds for boot and raccoon are through the roof.
Ooh. I don't know if it's that bad.
Okay.
I'm going horse phallus.
Oh.
Oh.
That's worse. I'd take the boot. I'd take the boot any day of the week.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. All right, so we're waiting. We got that press conference on the way. That's about an hour from now, correct? With Tim Walz, when we're gonna find out.
Is that 11 o'clock? I thought it was 10 o'clock.
I thought it's 11 o'clock Central because he's also in the Central time.
All right, I'm gonna check it out.
And then what we're gonna be doing, right? You guys
We're going
know?
live.
No.
What?
We're gonna turn the page.
Turn the page.
That's what we're doing.
Because his wife wanted us to.
You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page. Oh, pretty good. Do it again. We're going to turn the page.
We're turning the page. We're doing that today. We'll be covering that press conference as it happens live. We'll be talking more about the raid that took place over the weekend. Marco Rubio was absolutely everywhere. Rubio is the hardest working man in politics, and now apparently he's the president of Venezuela as well. But he was on ABC, CBS, NBC, fighting with all of them. George Slopadopoulos got knocked out. Kristen Welker got knocked out. He didn't hold back at all. We'll bring you all the highlights from
Margaret
Rubio's.
Brennan, too. That was a good
Oh,
one.
yeah, Margaret Brennan. I really don't care, Margaret. But we'll
Yes.
bring you all the highlights from all of those interviews on the way. 10 o'clock, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
O'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And yes, we are awaiting the start of the press conference in Minnesota, where Governor Tim Walz is expected to address his decision to drop his bid for a third term for governor. Now, that press conference is expected to start at 11 o'clock this morning. And when it does, we will break in and take that press conference live here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. As for the Venezuela situation, Congress is getting a briefing about what's happening. That briefing is tonight.
Top members of the president's national security team will brief members of Congress tonight. This week, Senate Democrats are expected to offer a resolution under the War Powers Act, likely aiming to prevent future use of the U.S. military in Venezuela. But last month, similar measures failed in both houses prior to Maduro's arrest. President Trump has said he's not afraid to put boots on the ground in Venezuela to secure the world's largest oil reserves.
That's ABC's Stephen Portnoy. In Wisconsin, an activist judge has resigned her post after being convicted for escorting an illegal alien out the back door of her courtroom so he could avoid ICE agents and then lying about
Milwaukee Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan was convicted last month of obstructing federal immigration agents who were seeking to make an arrest outside of her courtroom. She has now resigned, writing Governor Tony Evers that while the legal proceedings are, quote, far from concluded, they present what she called immense and complex challenges that threaten the independence of the judiciary. State Republicans had been making plans to impeach Dugan, who faces up to 5 years in prison.
ABC's Brian Clark. A teenager was shot in the head in a hunting accident in Kentucky over the weekend. Christian County Sheriff's deputies saying it happened after a gun was accidentally fired. The 17-year-old was transported to a Hopkinsville hospital. He, however, did not survive. A man accused of a hit and run involving a house has now been arrested. Kevin Nash of Springfield has been charged with driving his car into the garage of a home. That home is no longer structurally sound. Nash is being charged with leaving the scene of a crash and driving on a revoked license, among other things. The crash happened just after 6 o'clock last night at Indian Ridge Boulevard in White House. And 4 McDonald's customers have gotten together to sue the fast food chain over one of their favorite menu items, the McRib. Brace yourself for this one.
Despite the McRib's name and its distinctive shape, the plaintiffs in a lawsuit filed in Illinois claim the sandwich is not made with highly sought-after rib meat, but with lower grades of pork, including shoulder, heart, and tripe. Depending upon the market, the McRib costs between $3.99 and $7.99, a price the plaintiffs say they were duped into paying on the belief that the McRib is ribs.
Ew.
They said heart and tripe?
And tripe.
What's the tripe again?
Oh, I will read you a description. You ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, come
I'm
on.
as ready as I'll ever be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're not going to want. It's the tripe is the edible lining of a ruminant animal's stomach. So it's known for being nutritious, by the way. Yeah.
Sign me up for extra tripe.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So that is the latest news. You're going to go get one now?
No, absolutely
No,
not.
you're not going to be
I'll
running
stick-
there instead
when I need my ribs, I'll stick with real rib meat that I get from my friends over at Slick Pig in Murfreesboro. Not an ad.
Perfect. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hey, how are you? Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. You can watch the show live. We're on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe. Free to do. Share the show with your friends. We appreciate it. Help us grow that digital footprint in 2026. So the UN is having a meeting right now. Did you know this? And you know who's leading the UN emergency meeting? The country of Somalia. The country of Somalia is leading the UN meeting where Security Council members are now slamming the United States for the capture of Nicolas Maduro.
Good morning, everybody. The 10,085th meeting of the Security Council is called to an order.
So they called the meeting. Somalia is calling the meeting to order. It's weird how everything is poetry flowing together today as we're waiting for Tim Walz to drop out of the race because he was exposed for covering up and looking the other way with all the Somali fraud going on in his state. We'll be covering that press conference live. As it stands right now, our U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Michael Walz, is addressing the UN, and we'll go to that live.
And against the United States. It's terrorizing criminals commit brutal crimes, including murders, kidnappings, extortions, and human, drug, and weapons trafficking. This administration, President Trump, will not stand for it. In fact, in March of 2025, President Trump declared that Tren de Aragua quote, Tren de Aragua is undertaking hostile actions and conducting irregular warfare against the territory of the United States, both directly and at the direction, clandestine or otherwise, of the Maduro regime in Venezuela. Maduro and his cronies have partnered with some of the most violent and prolific drug traffickers and narco-terrorists in the world for decades, facilitating the flood of illegal drugs coming in the United States, estimated to be several hundred tons annually. He has become rich, incredibly wealthy, off the misery of untold numbers of Americans, Venezuelans, and others, aiding and abetting international terrorist organizations like Hezbollah, coordinating with corrupt Iranian officials, and other malign actors to influence not only the region, but to malignly influence the United States. In fact, in its own 2025 World Drug Report, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime identified Venezuela as a key trafficking route in the Western Hemisphere, the illegal drugs, predominantly cocaine, entering the United States and increasingly Europe.
The UN is so upset that we took out Maduro, but at the same time, the UN understands how bad Venezuela is. One of my favorite parts about this hearing is how they keep going over to the Venezuela rep, who is just sitting there. He looks very, very upset. We'll continue to monitor the UN briefing from Mike Walz, and we'll bring you some of this audio from Marco Rubio. He was everywhere. Again, he was facing off against Margaret Brennan, Kristen Welker, and George Slopadopoulos over the weekend. And Marco Rubio is just a beast. One of the things that they've been very upset about, and by they, I mean the left, and I mean all aspects of the left, whether they're the elected officials or the propaganda arm of the left that we saw on the weekend news shows, they're very upset that there was no congressional approval for this raid that captured Nicolas Maduro alive, injuring no U.S. service members, leaving behind no equipment. Marco Rubio essentially told all of those Democrats and all of the propaganda mouthpieces for the Democrats to piss off.
Require congressional.
No, hang on, I got too much audio. I set it up so good too. You know what I mean? It was like a really good setup. And then Mike Walz is still talking in the background to the UN, and I apologize for that. So let's just rewind the tape. And then Marco Rubio said, piss off.
Action that required congressional approval. In fact, it couldn't require congressional approval because this was not an invasion. This is not an extended military operation. This is a very precise operation that involved a couple of hours of action. It was a very delicate operation, too. It was one that required all these conditions to be in place at the right time in the right place. You couldn't afford leaks. We couldn't afford anything out there that would have endangered the mission and gotten people killed or killed off the mission and the optionality. We didn't even know if the mission was going to happen.
One of the things that stood out to me, and I'm sure it stood out to you as well, we couldn't notify Congress because we couldn't afford the leaks. We couldn't afford the information to get out. Is that not an indictment on Congress? Do you feel like, I feel like that's an indictment on Congress.
If those kids could read, they'd be very upset.
It's true. In fact, I heard those kids aren't even in daycare.
How can you notify something you're not even sure if it can happen? Because in order for it to happen, you needed to have weather conditions in place. He needed to be at the right place at the right time. We needed to have forces prepared to go. There were a lot of factors in place. It was a trigger-based operation. But you can't notify that, number one, because you don't even know if it's going to happen, if those conditions will ever align. And number two, you can't risk it being disclosed. But this was not an attack on Venezuela. This was a law enforcement function to capture an indicted drug trafficker. And of course, we needed the Department of War to support it because they do have anti-aircraft missiles that could shoot down those helicopters.
But will you?
And where did they get those anti-aircraft missiles from, you might ask? Oh, just our biggest adversaries on the entire planet? Got it. Okay, good.
We had to take down radars. We had to take down those anti-air elements on the way in and on the way out. And that's what this was limited to.
But will you seek congressional approval for any further action in Venezuela or the region?
Well, we will seek congressional approval for actions that require congressional approval.
Based. Absolutely based. Short answer, ma'am, no. No, unless we feel that it's necessary. You could hear Kristen Welker tripping over herself to interrupt the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. She couldn't wait to get a word in edgewise. And then as soon as she does, it falls flat because Marco goes, yeah, no. Probably not.
How about news?
Says, I'm not a huge fan. Not a huge fan of the Democrats leaking classified, sensitive information and putting our troops at risk. So no, we won't. One of the big conversations, though, and it gave a lot of people on the internet heartburn when Donald Trump said, look at me. I'm in control of Venezuela now. And Marco Rubio's asked about that. This is, again, on Meet the Press. Kristen Welker, does this mean boots on the ground? And Rubio says exactly what he needs to. He says, guys, it's not about whether or not we're going to put boots on the ground. It's about whether or not you're going to trap Donald Trump in what he can do and what he can't do.
We don't have U.S. forces on the ground in Venezuela. No, we don't have U.S. forces on the ground. Everyone knows. They were on the ground for about 2 hours when they went to capture Maduro. And I think what the president is saying is very simple, and that is, as president of the United States, he is not going to go around telling people what he's not going to do. He's not going to go around saying, I won't do this, I won't do that. Yes, I care about this issue, but I'll only go so far. He retains all this optionality. We don't have
Which is unbelievably huge. And Trump has said this time and time again, even going back to first-term Trump. Only a stupid person would reveal their plans. You lose all your leverage. You lose all your negotiating power. No, I don't think that Donald Trump wants to have a boots-on-the-ground, sustained invasion of Venezuela. I don't. But he's not going to say that he's not going to do that because then they know where the line in the sand is. You got to be able to keep your options open. So no, I'm not a fan of boots on the ground. I don't think that there are going to be boots on the ground, but I understand why the president is not taking that off the table. One thing I would ask, and one thing that I would demand, is not one Venezuelan refugee. Actually, I think that needs to stop immediately before it even gets started. If any Venezuelan refugee thinks that they're going to be coming to the United States of America, sorry, no, we're not going to do that. Marco Rubio went on to say American adversaries are being banished from the Western Hemisphere, and this is a direct result of the Monroe Doctrine, formerly the Monroe Doctrine, but this is President Trump exhibiting strength on the world stage, and we're witnessing this in real time. Marco Rubio, Meet the Press.
What needs to happen for any of this to change, for our relations with Venezuela to change and our whole approach to it to change, the things we have talked about are the ones I've highlighted already. You can't flood this country with gang members. You can't flood this country with drugs that are coming out of Colombia through Venezuela with the cooperation of elements of your security forces. You can't turn Venezuela into the operating hub for Iran, for Russia, for Hezbollah, for China, for the Cuban intelligence agents that control that country. That cannot continue. Those things cannot continue to be in place. You cannot continue to have the largest oil reserves, in the world under the control of adversaries of the United States, not benefiting the people of Venezuela and stolen by a handful of oligarchs around the world, including inside of Venezuela, but not benefiting the people of that country. We've seen how our adversaries all over the world are exploiting and extracting resources from Africa, from every other country. They're not going to do it in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. They are not. That is not going to happen under President Trump. Our national security strategy. He is serious about it, and he's going to do something about it, and we're doing something about it.
I'm a huge fan of what Rubio's saying. I'm with this administration 110%. But Kristen Welker sees this take from Rubio, and she goes, "Oh, I got him cornered." So it really was about Venezuelan oil all along, right? That's what it was about. That's what they're going to say. It's all about the Venezuelan oil. And she says to Marco Rubio, "Why does the U.S. need Venezuelan oil?" And he says, "Hang on. Let me explain this in a way that even you could understand."
States need to take over the Venezuelan oil industry.
Well, we don't need to. First of all, let me go back up. We don't need Venezuela's oil. We have.
Okay. We don't need to. We're not going to. We don't need the oil. Not about the oil. Not about the oil.
Need Venezuela's oil. We have plenty of oil in the United States. What we're not going to allow is for the oil industry in Venezuela to be controlled by adversaries of the United States. You have to understand, why does China need their oil? Why does Russia need their oil? Why does Iran need their oil? They're not even in this continent. This is the Western Hemisphere. This is where we live. And we're not going to allow the Western Hemisphere to be a base of operation for adversaries, competitors, and rivals of the United States.
Have specific oil companies?
We also want to see that oil and the proceeds from it. Hold on. We want to see the oil proceeds of that country benefit the people of Venezuela. Why have 8 million people left Venezuela? 8 million, the single largest mass migration probably in modern history, left Venezuela since 2014 because all the wealth of that country was stolen to the benefit of Maduro and his cronies in the regime, but not to the benefit of people of Venezuela. You know how destabilizing 8 million migrants is? The number one fear that Brazil has, that Colombia has, that all these countries in the region have about what's happening in Venezuela and our involvement is they're afraid of another mass migration event. That's what they fear. This is deeply destabilizing stuff. It's not going to continue to happen. They are not going to come from outside of our hemisphere, destabilize our region in our own backyard, and us have to pay the price for it. Not under President Trump.
I'm here for it. Again, in 1992, this isn't light years ago. This isn't hundreds of years ago. It was 1992. Venezuela was the third richest country in the hemisphere. In the Western Hemisphere, the third richest nation. What do they have to show for it today? Absolutely nothing. Because the people that were in power were corrupt and evil. And President Trump said no more. We're not going to allow this to happen. And I salute him for doing so. Marco Rubio says we don't need the oil. The Western Hemisphere is ours. Russia, China, Iran, Cuba, enough of that. We're not playing these games anymore. You're not going to be a strategic location where you can plan and plot against the United States any longer. Maybe that worked with Biden in office, but not with Trump. It's 10:20. This is Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. It's 10:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We got Sam Rutherford producing today. He's doing okay. Don't let it get to his head, but he's doing pretty fine. Mason will be back tomorrow to do just as good. We'll find out. Stay tuned for more. Sorry. Sometimes I do things that make me laugh, and they don't make anybody else laugh. Find us on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. Marco Rubio said, if you think that you know what you're talking about when it comes to Venezuela, you talking heads in the media, it turns out you're what the locals in Minnesota call Tim Walz.
Number one, most of the experts that people have on television, I watch these experts, and it's clown hour. Okay, these are people that have focused their entire career on the Middle East or some other part of the world because that's where all the action was. Very few of them know anything about Venezuela or the Western Hemisphere. Venezuela looks nothing like Libya. It looks nothing like Iraq. It looks nothing like Afghanistan. It looks nothing like the Middle East other than the Iranian agents that are running through there plotting against America. Okay, these are Western countries with long traditions among their at a people-to-people and cultural level and ties to the United States. So there's nothing like that. So I think people need to stop ascribing the apples and oranges here, the apples of the Middle East to the oranges of the Western Hemisphere.
But do you...
Number two, this is about the national interest of the United States. And what I'm confident of is we are in a safer and better place because we're taking it seriously. The alternative would have been to leave Maduro there as an indicted the drug trafficker, illegitimate president, running the country, open invitation for all of our adversaries to do whatever they want against the United States from Venezuela. That was not going to continue. The alternative would have been to allow a drug trafficker to continue to use national territory and elements of nation-state power to further drug trafficking organizations. Read the indictment. This guy used the levers of their security apparatus not to arrest drug traffickers, but to cooperate and facilitate the trafficking of drugs for the purpose of getting them into the United States. And that's going to stop.
I love how he just doesn't even listen to Kristen Welker. It's like when I'm being stern with my kids, and I got to put on the stern dad voice, and there's going to be objections. There's going to be grievances that the children feel they need to air, but I just keep going, and no. I'm not finished.
Makes sense.
It's I love it. It's definitely has some dad vibes there. And he said, you think you know what you're talking about with Venezuela? You're an absolute clown. Kristen Welker actually wasn't the worst over the weekend on the Talking Head shows. That honor goes to none other than Margaret Brannon on CNN. Miss Brannon, she said with all the people in Venezuela that we have rewards on, why didn't you go after all of them? Yes, there's about 5 people here that you should have also gone after. And Marco Rubio goes, are you kidding me? Are we doing this right now?
He's still in place. The defense minister, who has deep ties to Russia, $15 million price on his head, he is still in place. I'm confused. Are they still wanted by the United States? Why didn't you arrest them if you are taking out the narco-terrorist regime?
I'm so confused. Marco, you have to clear up the confusion for me. You went in and you took out the president of Venezuela. Why did you leave all the other people?
You're confused? I don't know why that's confusing to you.
They're still in power.
It's very simple. You're not going to go in and wrap up. But you can't go. You're going to go in and suck up 5 people. They're already complaining about this one operation. Imagine the howls we would have from everybody else if we actually had to go and stay there 4 days to capture 4 other people. We got the top priority. The number one person on the list was the guy who claimed to be the president of the country that he was not. And he was arrested along with his wife, who was also indicted. And that was a pretty sophisticated and frankly complicated operation.
It was.
It is not easy to land helicopters in the middle of the largest military base in the country. The guy lived on a military base. Land within 3 minutes, kick down his door, grab him, put him in handcuffs, read him his rights, put him in a helicopter, and leave the country without losing any American or any American assets. That's not an easy mission. And you're asking me why didn't we do that in 5 other places at the same time?
Yes, that's exactly what she's asking you. A lot of the Democrats are saying this operation was illegal. How could you do it? Margaret Brannon is going, she's like going full bore. She's like, why didn't we do it more? I didn't know she was such a warmonger, Margaret Brannon. So why didn't we go and kill more?
I mean, that's absurd. I do think this is one of the most, daring, complicated, sophisticated missions this country has carried out in a very long time. Tremendous credit to the U.S. military personnel who did it. It was unbelievable, and tremendous success. And today, an indicted drug trafficker who was not the legitimate president of Venezuela, who we don't recognize, the Biden administration didn't recognize, 60-something countries don't recognize, the European Union doesn't recognize, and many countries in Latin America don't recognize. He was a indicted drug trafficker. He was arrested. His wife was arrested, also
but the
indicted,
the others who are also indicted are still
system of courts.
The others who are also indicted are still in place. So that's the point of my questioning there. But you talked about not being the legitimate.
So you wanted
president.
us to land in 5 other military bases?
No, I'm asking why you chose that this was the limit of the military operation. But to your point that you just made, that that Maduro was not the legitimate president.
He was the guy who was claiming to be the president.
Right.
We took out the top dog, not the foot soldiers. Margaret Brannon wants more. She wants more blood. She wants those scalps. I didn't realize she was so anti-Venezuelan. Did you know that? I had no idea. On the way, we'll take some of your phone calls at 615-737-9986. I see Steve's been hanging on for a minute. Andrew, Mike, we'll get to your calls. Plus, we'll bring you more of the reaction. Everybody's upset. Everybody's upset. A lot of protests over the weekend. Mostly white liberals. The Venezuelans are actually celebrating. Huh. We'll talk about it. 1031 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 10:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? Chris Hand here. Show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. During the commercial break, I did have the feedback. That was my fault, and I apologize. Somebody on the YouTube chat said, is someone vacuuming in the studio? I said, it was me. I was vacuuming, and then the YouTube chat has exploded. They said, this is why everyone says you suck. Dan must have left a mess. Chris Hand on air, so tidy. Yes, yes, all things are true.
Well, there couldn't have been any vacuuming going on in there. There's no women in there.
615-737-9986 is the number to call. Please feel free to leave all the complaints about Sam's comments with Sam before you come on the air. Steve's on the road. He wants to talk about communists. Steve, thanks for holding as long as you did, man. How are you?
Hey, good, sir. How are you, man?
I'm good. What do you got?
Man, what a good day, right?
Dude, it's
All
a
right.
wild day.
Yeah. Communist dictators, man. That's what we're seeing. It's just China and Russia's proxies. They're little dictators that are using their resources and, extorting their people and bleeding their people out, man. And this is great. I'm glad to see this. This was caught them slipping, FAFO. And it was awesome, man. Delta Force did a flawless job. I heard a couple guys got hit, but other than that, man, I mean, this was a 1-2 knockout right here. I'm glad to see. I just hope that getting a new person in power and getting their military straightened out and getting U.S. Customs down there where we can kind of make sure nothing's coming in from China or Colombia or anywhere else for that matter. That's the most important part of it. But
yep, 100%,
I want to
man.
focus on I want to focus on Cuba because Cuba is, their president is his title is he's the president of a communist party, and I think it's Diaz something or another like that. I don't think he was actually voted in either. But Cuba has kind of been a thorn in our side for a long time. Although we do have a Marine base there, a giant prison, they still operate with, they still cut deals with Russia more than anybody, I think. And I think what we're seeing is the end of, we're cleaning up our backyard, so to speak. We're pretty much trying to get communism out of South America. They don't need to be here anyway. So I'm all for it, man. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the day.
Likewise, Steve. I appreciate the call. I agree with just about everything you said. The only thing that I would push back on was when you said we caught them slipping because, as President Trump said, they were at the ready position. These guys weren't slipping. They were just completely overpowered and dominated. Like, there's no other way around it. To your other point on Cuba, if you will, I believe that's how they pronounce it, Cuba. On Cuba, Marco Rubio talked about Cuba as well. The defense forces around Maduro were all Cuban, and he said that if he was Cuba, if he lived in Havana, he'd be a little bit nervous. Cuba. Oh, hang on one second. I got too many audio things running at the same time because I'm an absolute mess. This is what happens when I have a couple days off. I just can't get anything right. Marco Rubio on Cuba.
Not senile, but incompetent nonetheless. It has no economy. It's in total collapse. And by the way, they were, all of the guards that helped protect Maduro, this is well known, their whole spy agency, all that were full of Cubans. I mean, it's amazing. This poor island took over Venezuela in some cases. One of the biggest problems the Venezuelans have is they have to declare independence from Cuba. They tried to basically colonize it from a security standpoint. So, yeah, look, if I lived in Havana and I was in the government, I'd be concerned, at least a little bit.
Are you cutting off the oil flow to Cuba from Venezuela?
Well, the president already announced a week ago that anything that's sanctioned, it's sanctioned oil, it's not going to be allowed to get there. So that
Venezuela would be nice if it wasn't for all the Cubans, obviously. 615-737-9986. Let's go to Andrew on the road. What's up, Andrew? Thanks for holding, man. What do you got?
What's up, Chris? Thanks for taking my call. I got a couple comments and then a question. First of all, I don't know what excited me more, Operation Midnight Hammer or or this. And when I found out they took his wife too, I just doubled down, did a lap around the house, and jumped for joy. And I don't know if they called this an operation, but they got to come up with a cool name so I can get a T-shirt.
Wasn't it Operation Absolute Resolve?
Correct, sir.
Operation Absolute Resolve.
Okay.
Let's be honest. If we're gonna knock them about anything, Operation Midnight Hammer, much cooler name.
Much cooler. And I can't wait to hear what Chad's going to say. I know he's going to say it's all about the oil, but hear his spin on it. But here's my question. I saw things online this morning about China demanding the release of Maduro. Is that true? Have you heard about that?
I have not seen that anywhere. It wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't be stunned by it, but I have not seen that.
We're obviously not going to, do that. And my concern is the larger picture is if that is true and they stand firm on that, then where does that put us?
The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Beijing urged the U.S. to immediately release Venezuela's president and first lady, adding to its earlier condemnation of their captor. In a statement posted to the Chinese Foreign Ministry's website, spokesperson said China calls on the U.S. to ensure the personal safety of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, release them at once, stop toppling the government of Venezuela, and resolve issues through dialogue and negotiation. But I just feel like the time for dialogue and negotiation has passed. And I can understand why China would be so upset when they lose an area that they could station themselves in and be much closer to the United States than they would be otherwise.
Urged is a whole lot different wording than demand, and I can appreciate the word urged because that doesn't sound like do what we say or else.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody's going to lose sleep over Maduro, and I don't think anybody's going to go into World War III over Nicolas Maduro or Venezuela.
There's nothing better than the memes I'm seeing. Maduro turned into a DJ. Maduro in front of a bunch of oil barrels and drunk.
Well, I mean, the memes are making themselves. I mean, how many outfit changes did this guy have? We haven't even talked about that yet. He was like able to pack like a 3-day long weekend bag apparently.
Yeah, Nike is sold out on the gear he was wearing on the helicopter.
Yeah, it was my wife mentioned it and I was like, "Will you get me one?" And she said, "Absolutely not." I said, "Well, this is not good." Nike had a run on their little tracksuits, the Maduro edition.
It's gone now on StockX. They're flying high. I mean, you got to pay out the roof to get the Maduro suit.
Yeah, you got it. Hey, who wouldn't want a Maduro suit? Hey, I appreciate the call, Andrew. 615-737-9986. My man Mike in Nashville up next on Super Talk. What's up, Mike? How are you?
Yeah. You know I had to call in today.
I was waiting for you, Mike. I was waiting. I'm like, where's Mike at? I expected you to be on hold after the cross with Mandis.
Yeah, I had to call in on this one, man. I've been waiting for this call for a while. You know, when they sent, Maduro, he's the dumbest. Well, let me start off by saying this, like Pete Hegseth said in his meeting on Saturday. I'm not gonna use that F word. But he effed around and found out Maduro. He called Donald Trump's bluff, Chris, and he found out the hard way that Donald Trump is not playing games. He told that man numerous times to evacuate Venezuela and do the right thing, and he refused to do it. And now he's going to be appearing in a New York City courtroom in less than an hour or two, and he deserves everything he gets. But you know what really disappoints me the most about this whole thing, Chris?
Tell me, Mike.
Donald Trump said on Saturday night or either Sunday, and it's a shame. We've talked about this before, that your own country would cut your throat. A lot of these Democrats and these other losers are saying that Donald Trump didn't go to Congress. He didn't get no authority to do what he did. And, that might be right. He didn't go to Congress. But you want to know why he didn't go to Congress, Chris? And Donald Trump said it. It's because we got these so-called wannabe anonymous people that would have somehow found a way to let Maduro or somebody associated with him, that Donald Trump was planning a midnight move to go into his home, a raid to evacuate him out of the country. And that's a damn shame that you would have a person of your own countrymen would inform a person as terrible as him of what the U.S. had planned. So that's the reason why, if any Democrats are listening to right now, that's the reason why Trump didn't go through Congress, because Congress can't be trusted.
Yeah,
So
you're absolutely right. Marco Rubio said it earlier as well. It's an indictment on Congress. I truly believe that. It's also an indictment on the people that we have in positions of power. But this isn't anything new. I mean, what was it, General Mark Milley saying just a couple years back? Oh, if Donald Trump moved on China, I would give Xi Jinping and my counterparts a call and let them know what's up. Like these insidious forces and these traitors, yeah, they're in the highest levels of our government. It has to be a tight knit circle, or these things are going to get you're going to get screwed over.
And I got to get this in right quick, Chris, before I hang up. And it's even better news. Like I say, 2026 is starting off great. Remember I told you a couple of weeks ago, what could you imagine if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz would have got in the White House? Well, it looks like good old Tim Walz is getting exactly what he deserved, and that he turned out to be the loser that we all knew he was. And now he said today that he's resigning. He's not going to try to be governor of Minnesota, and that's good for Minnesota, and that's good for everybody else. And hopefully he'll get what's coming to him just like Maduro did. And I thank you for taking my call.
Hey, I appreciate the call as always, Mike. Yeah, we're waiting that press conference from Tim Walz. Nick Sorter was outside his house this morning, and he was waiting for the sign that Tim Walz would be resigning, which we've gotten word from since. I don't know if the sign has happened outside his home yet. Nick Sorter is a citizen journalist. He was on the ground. This was about 4 a.m. this morning outside of Tim Walz's house. He was waiting for the news that Tim Walz would be dropping out of the gubernatorial race in Minnesota.
Good morning from outside the Minnesota governor's mansion. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning. Trump rally music blasting in the background as all eyes are on the chimney of the Minnesota governor's mansion, awaiting for the smoke to rise, which means that a new retard has been selected. Tim Walz expected to drop out of the gubernatorial race after the expose of, him being in bed with all the Somalis out here. I don't know.
I love the trolling. I love elite level trolling. Could you imagine being at the governor's mansion? His daughter lives there, right? She's been very upset on social media that people have been calling Tim Walz all sorts of names, much more upset about the name calling than she has been about the fraud and the subsequent cover-up. But the trolling, a little Lee Greenwood at 4 a.m., could you imagine how enraged they must be? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. One of the final signs that pissed off the Trump administration when it came to Maduro, you've seen the videos, come get me, come get me. But they said one of the last straws were this video of Maduro dancing while he was waiting for the Trump administration to come get him. He was doing the Trump. And they said, all right, that's it. No more. And they said, we're coming for you. A lot of stuff to get to. We are paying attention to that press conference with Tim Walz. We'll be joining it live. We will be the only network covering his press conference live that will be incorporating sad violin. So if you want to listen to that press conference, you won't have sad violin on any of the other networks while Tim Walz drops out of the gubernatorial race in Minnesota. That'll be exclusively here on 99.7 WTN, as well as on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like and hit subscribe while you're there. We appreciate you doing so. 1051 Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
to the grind, drivers. We've got a crash. This is going to be right there, 40 westbound at Elm Hill Pike overpass, the left lane block there. Then in Jolton, got road work blocking the right lane. Pothole repair. That's going to be 24 westbound between exit 35 and exit 31. That's about a 12-minute delay. U.S. oil companies weighing the pros and cons of investing in Venezuelan oil, which used to be American oil, coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ken Weaver in the newsroom, ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on, Brother Chris and Brother Sam?
From a newsman's perspective.
Yes, sir.
Did you get excited over the weekend?
Excited.
Were you like, whew, this is gonna be a heck of a story to cover on Monday?
Oh, well, yeah. I definitely thought, well, I wonder what we're going to talk about. It's been kind of a slow holiday.
It's been a slow couple days.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, yeah, there's going to be lots of content.
Dude, it's insane.
Yes.
Over 150 aircrafts.
Yeah.
Just a little
20
over,
different bases.
Just a little over 2 hours in and out. You know, and you weren't here for it. Do you watch Stranger Things on Netflix?
Oh, yes.
So there's a meme going around.
Oh, yeah?
It's season 5, episode 7, which is now the lowest rated episode in history. One of the main characters announced that he was gay.
Which one?
I don't know. I don't watch the show.
Oh.
I just pay attention to the memes.
Yeah.
I just pay attention to the memes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the speech in announcing that he was gay took 6 minutes and 57 seconds.
I didn't even notice.
From the front door to when we pulled Maduro out took 6 minutes and 31 seconds.
Do a little comparison there.
We're just keeping score. We're keeping score.
What I think is fascinating about it is how everything had to fall into place. They were waiting for the perfect weather, just perfect time. I mean, all this was ready to go.
Yep.
And it just would have been cool to be there whenever the decision was made, whenever Trump gets the word, hey, everything's perfect, boss. Boom.
Dude, and the pictures from inside the room when those guys were watching it, it does look badass. And Senator Eric Schmidt was talking about it yesterday on Fox News, saying this isn't just a message to the Venezuelans that are now in charge. This is also a message to Russia, and this is a message to China.
Long-term engagement. I mean, this is making sure the Venezuelan people can actually, they've been sort of ridden of Maduro now. They're going to move forward. And again, the U.S. has a very important interest here in the Western Hemisphere that Venezuela isn't the playground for the CCP, which is what the CCP wanted. By the way, Jackie, one last point. It's very interesting that Chinese delegation was there.
Yeah.
If you don't think China noticed that we were able to do this under the cover of darkness without them knowing anything about it, that's a very important point, too, for deterrence as well.
Yeah. Could any other country in the world have executed what the United States executed over the weekend? I would be hard-pressed to find one. It's 11 o'clock. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. A lot of questions remaining about the future of Venezuela and what the U.S. role will ultimately be. President Trump said over the weekend the U.S. will, quote, run Venezuela, and that U.S. oil companies will now have access to Venezuela's oil reserves, although it's unclear whether those companies have confirmed that. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis explains how investing in Venezuela's oil industry could be risky for U.S. businesses.
It also comes with some major challenges for U.S. energy producers who, except for Chevron, all pulled out of Venezuela years ago when the socialist government seized their assets. What followed were decades of corruption and mismanagement, which decimated Venezuela's energy infrastructure. So now getting other American energy giants to return after they have been burned so badly with lots of unknowns still and with prices under $60 a barrel will be a significant challenge.
Meanwhile, Venezuelans say they are happy with the removal of Nicolas Maduro. But Maduro's regime, including his vice president, still claiming that they run the country. By the way, Maduro is expected to make his first court appearance on narco-terrorism charges here in the U.S. as soon as this morning. Right now in Nashville, the search is on for a killer who shot and killed a DoorDash driver early Sunday near a nightclub on Murfreesboro Pike in South Nashville. 33-year-old David Valentine Jr. was driving with a DoorDash passenger when gunfire broke out, and he was struck and died. Investigators say no suspects have been named. They're following what they say are active leads. And police say a Hermitage man fired shots at 2 alleged scammers outside of Lowe's on Old Hickory Boulevard. Investigators say 44-year-old Brian Thomas opened fire after a candy bar sale turned into a $1,000 scam. His gunfire endangered 2 innocent bystanders. Thomas was arrested Saturday night and charged with aggravated assault. And a man was killed early Sunday morning on I-65 north near Rosa Parks Boulevard here in Nashville. Police say he was sitting in the middle of the interstate wearing dark clothing when a car hit him around 2:30 in the morning. The driver of that car, 19-year-old and a Hyundai Sonata, stayed at the scene and is cooperating. Investigators are working to identify the victim. And Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth says Arizona Democratic Senator Mark Kelly will likely face a demotion in the U.S. Navy for taking part in a video urging troops to ignore illegal orders. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
It's an administrative action that's short of a court-martial. It will likely see Mark Kelly losing his rank as a retired Navy captain and would result in a reduction in his military pension. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the senator will have 30 days to submit a response and that, quote, further violations could result in further action. Kelly was among Democratic members of Congress, veterans of the armed forces and intelligence community, who urged troops to ignore illegal orders in what Hegseth calls a reckless and seditious video.
And Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz says he's not going to run for re-election. Walz says he'd have to spend too much time defending his own political interests amid allegations his administration's turned a blind eye to widespread fraud in child care and housing programs. That's the latest news. Weather's up next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Information fueled, opinion driven. Government is not the solution to our problem. The Chris Hand Show. Government is the problem. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Tim Walz has just walked to a podium. We expect that he is announcing that he is going to drop out of the gubernatorial race in Minnesota. We joined that press conference live right now.
And online,
want to make our state a colder, meaner place. They want to poison our people against each other by attacking our neighbors. And ultimately, they want to take away much of what makes Minnesota the best place in the country to raise a family.
Oh, my gosh.
They've already begun trying to withhold funds that were meant to help families afford child care. And they have no intention of stopping there.
He didn't waste
Make no
any time
mistake,
blaming others.
we should be concerned about fraud in our state government. We cannot effectively deliver programs and services if we can't earn the public's trust.
There it is.
That's why over the past few years, we've made systemic changes in the way we do business. We've gone to the legislature time and time again to get more tools to combat fraud. We've hired people we fired people who weren't doing their jobs. We've seen people go to jail for stealing from our state. We've cut off whole streams of funding in partnership with the federal government, where we saw widespread criminal activity. We've put new locks on the doors of our remaining programs. And we've hired a new head of program integrity to make sure that those locks can't be broken.
Is he going to drop
All
out, or is
across
he going to
the
go
state,
full Leo DiCaprio and be like, I'm not leaving?
Advocates, administrators, investigators are on the front lines defending the integrity of our state's programs. And I want to give a very heartfelt thank you to all of them. There is more to do. A single taxpayer dollar wasted on fraud should be intolerable.
How about $9 billion?
And while there's a role to play for everyone, from the legislature to prosecutors to insurance companies to local and county government, the buck does stop with me.
Oh.
My administration has been taking fast, decisive action to solve this crisis. We'll win the fight against the fraudsters. But the political gamesmanship we're seeing from Republicans is only making that fight harder.
Gamesmanship.
We've got Republicans here in the state legislature playing hide and seek with potential whistleblowers. We've got conspiracy theorist right-wing YouTubers breaking into our daycares, demanding access to our children.
Breaking in.
We've got the President of the United States demonizing our Somali neighbors and wrongfully confiscating funds that Minnesotans rely on.
80% of them are on welfare.
It's disgusting and it's dangerous.
Okay.
Republicans are playing politics with the future of this state. It's shameful. And I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. We welcome ideas from anyone, in any party, from any walk of life, who wants to help us continue to stay ahead of these criminals.
A lot of words.
And we
to
welcome the
resign.
involvement of the federal government. I am grateful to the career professionals at the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI who have been helping us fight this fight for years. But I cannot abide the actions of the political leadership in Washington. These opportunists are willing to hurt our people to score cheap points. They and their allies have no intention of helping us solve this problem, and every intention of trying to profit off of it. Which brings me to this. 2026 is an election year. Election years have a way of ramping up the politics at a time when we simply can't afford more of that in Minnesota. In September, I announced that I would seek a historic third term as Minnesota's governor. And I have every confidence that if I gave it my all, we would win the race.
Okay.
But as I reflect on this moment with my family and my team over the holidays, I came to the conclusion that I can't give a political campaign my all. Every minute that I spend defending my own political interest would be a minute I can't spend defending the people of Minnesota against the criminals who prey on our generosity and the cynics who want to prey on our differences. So I've decided to step out of this race, and I'll let others worry about the election while I
Good
focus
call,
on the work that's
Timmy.
in
Good
front of me for
call.
the
Let's
next year.
go.
I'm passing on this race with zero sadness and zero regret. I did not run for this job to have the job.
Doesn't look like he
I
runs
ran
often.
for the job to do the job. Minnesota faces enormous challenges this year, and I refuse to spend a single minute doing anything other than rising to meet this moment. Minnesota has always come first and always will.
Stunning and brave.
That's what I believe servant leadership demands of me. As an optimist, I'll hold out some hope that my friends on the other side of the aisle will consider what servant leadership demands of them in the
Servant
moment.
leadership.
We can work together to combat against the criminals. We can work together to rebuild the public's trust and make our state stronger. But make no mistake about it. If Republicans continue down the path of abusing power, smearing entire communities, and running their own fraudulent game at the expense of Minnesotans, I will fight back with everything that I have. I'm absolutely confident a Democratic and a DFLer will hold this seat come November.
You sure?
I'm confident that I'll find ways to contribute to the state that I love long after next January. But there'll be time to worry about all that later. Today, I'm proud of the work we've done to make Minnesota America's best place to live and raise kids.
Gee whiz.
From our new paid leave policy to our child tax credit to our school lunch programs feeding every single child.
To the unbelievable daycares.
And I'm doubly proud of the incredible team we put together to make this vision a reality. I want to take a moment to thank every member of my staff.
Thank them all.
Every single state employee.
Thank them all, Tim.
Who has been part of this fight. Now more than ever, I need you on the job. I need you to help work together to tackle the important work in front of us. And most of all, I want Minnesotans to know how grateful I am for the opportunity to serve this state.
Does he cry?
For the
You think he
privilege
cries here?
that I have been given to serve in this office. I'm on the job. I'm focused on making sure that we stay America's best place to live and raise kids. No one will take that away from us. I'm proud of the way we treat our neighbors. I'm proud of the way that we welcome people to this state. I'm proud of the way that we innovate. And I'm proud of the way that we are optimists for the future. No one's taking this away from us. Not the fraudsters. Certainly not this president.
Oh.
Not on my watch.
Okay.
Tomorrow, I'll be back with you. I'll give you an update on America's best paid family medical leave program that is now a week into it. And at that time, I'll take all your questions. Thank you all.
No questions, please. No questions. No questions. No questions. All we're left with is just that lonely state of Minnesota flag that looks an awful lot like the Somalia flag. He said neighbors quite a bit, blamed Donald Trump quite a bit. I thought he was going to cry there. Did you think he was going to cry? That was relatively quick from the governor.
Yeah, it was very disingenuous of him.
Quite the press conference.
I mean, thanked a lot of people, bragged about accomplishing nothing, even though I guess he thinks somehow he did something there, other than allow the most massive fraud in the history of maybe the world to happen. And not going to answer any questions.
$9 billion is like the low threshold at this point. That's the floor.
Doesn't it put the deficit to like 18 in the state?
Yep. And you know who's responsible for all of this? Donald Trump. He can't keep getting away with it. So he got Maduro over the weekend. He got Tim Walz right there. I love that these far-right YouTubers, Nick Shirley, 23-year-old guy with a camera, wasn't breaking into daycare facilities the way Tim Walz said. He simply knocked on the door and said, "Can I enroll my son here?" And they said, No. So is there a manager here? No. Can I get an application? No. Would my son Joey make friends here? No. That's all. That was it. That was the extent of it. This far right YouTuber. Tim Walz will not seek re-election for governor in the state of Minnesota. This is a guy who honestly believed he was going to be your vice president. Just a year ago, a little over a year ago, let's be honest, like a year and some change, he thought he was going to be the vice president of the United States. Today, he doesn't even think that he could win the gubernatorial race in Minnesota. And make no mistake about it, if they thought he could win, he would have stayed in the race. So now who are they going to put up? They're going to put up Amy Klobuchar? Amy Klobuchar? I mean, she'll probably win. Who are we kidding? But she's going to win thanks to that unbelievable voting bloc that was imported. Them Somalis. Wild. So Tim Walz was almost vice president of the United States. Now he's dropping out of the governor's race in disgrace. Let's not beat around the bush. He is disgracefully dropping out of the governor's race, and it's because of a 23-year-old kid with a camera. Never underestimate your own influence, right? Like, don't underestimate. Hillary Clinton lost the 2016 election in part because of a guy with a camera phone filming her falling over into the van. You remember that? Don't underestimate your own influence. If you feel the need to go out there and film some stuff, do it. Do it, because this is what happens. You can make a difference. Nick Shirley made a huge difference. President Trump was talking about Tim Walz over the weekend. I believe this was on Air Force One on his way back from Mar-a-Lago to Washington, D.C., and the news had kind of been percolating a little bit. There were rumors swirling that he could be dropping out, and President Trump did not hold back on Tim Walz on Air Force One. This was on. Oh, hang on one second. Dude, I keep doing this today, and I apologize. I got too much audio running in the background. This is Trump on Air Force One over the weekend.
One thing we haven't heard you specifically react to is the Minnesota fraud that we've seen play out.
Well, it just doesn't get worse. I've reacted. It's almost not even believable. This very stupid, low IQ governor, he's a very stupid man because, I had a campaign against him with JD. Man, he's a stupid man. And he's a corrupt politician.
And he's friends with school shooters.
And the Somalians are ripping off our country to the tune of, looks like $19 billion, but that's only what they can find. So usually when you look at it 19, that would mean it could be 50. But the numbers are astronomical. Think of it. They have a dead country. They don't have government. They don't have anything. They don't have a military. All they do is run around shooting people and trying to capture ships. We don't let them take ships anymore. You know why? We use the same exact missile on them that we use on the drug carriers. And it's very effective. So, you notice there's nobody capturing ships anymore? Because as they head out to go capture the ship, and the ship doesn't want to fire back because it's very flammable stuff in many cases. And the insurance companies don't want, because they build $1 billion ship, and they don't want anybody firing rockets into the ship.
Insuring Somali pirates it's a tightening, it's a narrowing field, if you will. I don't know many insurance companies that line up to insure the Somali pirates.
But we're hitting them so hard, and it's very similar. Same missile system. It's called Deadly Accurate. And do you notice that ships aren't being taken anymore? The pirates are. That's right. I hadn't thought about the pirates aren't. Well, no Somali pirates. It's actually very easy. They had.
This is after a weekend of Donald Trump not only acting as commander-in-chief and executing a flawless Operation Absolute Resolve to remove Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela, but he was also crap posting all weekend on True Social about the Somalians. He posted a chart proving 72% of Somali households in the U.S. are on government welfare. 72%. This chart was actually wild. Did you see this on True Social? It's all the different individuals in the country and how much welfare they get. And it just goes down the list. Somalia is number 3 behind only Bhutan and the Yemen Arab Republic. Somalia, 72% of Somalians in the United States are on some form of government welfare. Closer to 80% in the state of Minnesota, don't you know? Then he was posting over and over about the whistleblowers. He posted the clip from Scott Pressler that we aired last week, where Scott Pressler was talking about how the fraud goes far beyond financial. The fraud goes well into voting schemes. Donald Trump posted this on True Social.
Did you know that in 2008, 500,000 voters, or nearly 19% of all voters in Minnesota, registered on Election Day? What? And did you know that former Senator Al Franken was elected by 312 votes? So I'm not alleging anything on the program, but what I am saying is that this vouching system, which clearly opens the door for potential fraud, could swing statewide elections. Did you know?
So Trump is posting all of this, and he's putting maximum pressure on the state government in Minnesota and on Governor Walz. But the one that caught everybody's attention was a question that has been raised on social media over and over and over again when it comes to the Somali fraud in Minnesota. And it has to do with a Democrat, maybe you've heard of her, Melissa Hortman. Trump posted the Melissa Hortman conspiracy theory on True Social over the weekend. Was this the final straw? when Tim Walz knew he had to drop out of the governor's race.
Do you guys remember Melissa Hortman, the Minnesota state rep that had her life taken from her by Tim Walz's aide after voting
Trump
to take away
posted
health care
this.
from illegal immigrants?
She was unalived in her home by Vance Bolter, who was later caught after a manhunt. He then sent a letter to the FBI and Kash Patel saying that it was Tim Walz who forced him to do it. Both Vance Bolter and his wife worked for Tim Walz for years in different states. Was Melissa Hortman unalived because she voted against a multi-billion-dollar money laundering fraud? The fraud that she voted against that heavily implicated illegal aliens, specifically Somalians, who have been racketing this kind of child care, health care rackets and cooperating with our corrupt government. And today it's breaking news that the money laundering scam in Minnesota of billions of dollars for health care offices, child daycares, Medicaid, and various forms of care agencies. These money laundering frauds have been exposed, and it all comes back to Tim Walz.
I did what leaders do. I stepped up and I got the job done for the people of Minnesota.
Very shortly after this, she was unalived in her home by Vance Bolter. Vance Bolter and his wife worked for Tim Walz for years.
Now, I don't know if there's any truth to that conspiracy. All I know is that it's been a topic of conversation online, and the president posted that conspiracy theory on Truth Social over the weekend. Was that the straw that broke the camel's back inside the Tim Walz administration where they said, it's it, we got to pack it up? Maybe. Maybe it was just the rampant fraud. Maybe a mix of both. Wild. Good riddance, Tim. Nothing of value has been lost. 11:23, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Nicolas Maduro and his wife in a Manhattan federal courtroom. This story and more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. It's 11:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Apparently, you were too good with the sad violin, Sam, during the Tim Walz presser. Our friend Tim texted in and said, you need to tone down that violin before people start sending in donations to Tim Walz.
Only to be scammed off the top by the Somalis.
I love how he says, I'm going to fight so hard. I'm working so hard, and I'm quitting. Oh, that's nice. That's good.
Is that what you say when you're quitting?
I fight so hard. I'm going to keep fighting until I'm replaced. Okay. All right. Great. A lot of people on the text line. People be texting. Did you know that? People be texting. So it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Somebody said, so I played that Melissa Hortman video that Donald Trump posted. And 48.99 said, anybody who says unalive needs to be slapped. They sound like an idiot. The unalive stuff, that's for the social media algorithms. That's not for you. That's for the artificial intelligence.
Got to feed the machine.
You can't say murder. You can't say murder, death, kill. It's like Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I've learned that to find my nincompoop stories involving naked people, I have to type in unclothed.
Unclothed. That's what you need. Listen, I don't want to tell you what to do. I think that Tim Walz is your nincompoop in the news today.
Is he naked?
He probably wishes he was. Probably.
Right to jail.
Tampons are expensive. 8811 on the text line. Yeah, the Melissa Hortman stuff is wild. I don't know what the truth is to it. It's there's internet evidence. I don't know how well that holds up in a court of law. I just know that the president posted it over the weekend, which is wild. Okay, so the UN, they had Mike Waltz, UN ambassador, there today. Somalia leading the charge. They're very upset about Nicolas Maduro, if you will. Maybe you've heard of him. He was apprehended over the weekend by the United States. And Samuel Mancada, he is the Venezuelan ambassador to the UN. He was very upset, and he wanted everyone to know it.
On the contrary, it erodes the credibility of the debates and distorts the Security Council's mandate entrusted with the maintenance of international peace and security. Mr. President, on January 3rd, 2026 is a date of profound historical significance, not only for Venezuela, but for the international system as a whole. On that day, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela was the target of an illegitimate armed attack, lacking any legal justification by the government of the United States of America, which included bombing of our territory, the loss of civilian and military lives, the destruction of civilian infrastructure, essential infrastructure, and the kidnapping of the constitutional president of the Republic, Nicolas Maduro Moras, and the First Lady, Celia Flores.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. My wife is currently sending me memes. Did you see what 50 Cent posted on Instagram?
No.
50 Cent posted a cartoon of Diddy putting Nicolas Maduro's hair in cornrows, and the blurb above him says, they took my oil also. 11:31, Super Talk, 99.7, WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Boy, drivers, we are back at it, aren't we? Right now in Belle Meade, got an injury crash, Harding Pike, north of Woodmont Boulevard. Then 24 westbound, there's road work in Cheatham County. The right lane is blocked there at exit 24. Then a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 40 westbound at Elm Hill Pike. And then Hermitage rolling roadblocks. Bridge inspections, that's impacting both east and westbound 40 at Old Hickory Boulevard. Nicolas Maduro and his wife are in a Manhattan federal courtroom where a judge is laying out the charges they are facing, both wearing headphones to listen to an interpreter. The judge says he will ensure a fair processing. He's talking about arraignment on charges related to a 25-year narco-terrorism conspiracy. Well, Maduro reportedly has pleaded not guilty to the charges, told the judge, quote, "I am a decent man, the president of my country. I was kidnapped," and that's whenever the judge shut him down. Meanwhile, Martha Raddatz takes us back to the U.S. military operation that brought Maduro and his wife to the U.S. to face these charges in the first place.
A tactical success. It seemed to be a flawless operation, but there were bloody gun battles. We are learning. The Cubans say 32 Cubans were killed. Now, the Cubans were doing security for Maduro.
Meanwhile, shares of major U.S. companies in the energy sector are sharply higher after President Trump announced plans to take control of Venezuela's oil industry and said American companies would revitalize it after capturing President Maduro. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at United Structural Systems, USS. These guys have been doing the work since 1994. 30,000 satisfied customers when it comes to foundation repair and waterproofing. Let me ask you these questions. When you walk around your home, are your floors sagging? Do you have cracks showing up in the drywall? Do you have doors that just won't shut right? These aren't like little beauty blemishes on the home. These are something much more sinister. Red flags, warning signs that there could be something way worse happening directly beneath your feet. See, this could all be because of your foundation. And a solid foundation is going to be the backbone of any strong home. When it weakens, it's only going to get worse. It's not going to fix itself. This is why you need to call USS. They've been keeping homes dry, stable, and secure the way they should be since 94. USS uses American-made adjustable steel supports, built to last, backed with transferable warranties. Even if you leave the home, the warranty can stay. From I-beams to custom crawl space repairs, these guys are going to fix it right the first time. So don't waste any more time. Call USS today. When it comes to your home, don't kick the can down the road. 615-488-7855. That's the number for United Structural Systems. 615-488-7855, or you can find them online, USSTN.com. It's 11:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. I've been reading the text line. People be texting. You know how people be texting.
People be texting.
So they're texting. They're like, "Ooh, where can I find that video? Where can I find this video?" I'll tell you what. If you follow me on Twitter, I retweet just about every video that I play on the show at Chris Hand on Air. And then if there's something that I didn't retweet that you're like, "Hey, where did that come from?" Just shoot me a DM and I'll get you the links and all that stuff because, you know, people be texting. So
People be texting.
people can be DMing too, you know. People be doing lots of things. Tim Walz be resigning, you know. Tim Walz be dropping out of the gubernatorial race over all the Somalis. Gary's on the phone right now. Gary wants to talk about how the Somalis be in Shelbyville. Gary, you're on Super Talk. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing fine, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excuse me, real quick. Yes, there's a Somali community down there in Shelbyville, and a friend of mine who's a horse farrier that I've known for years, he's spent some time down there. I don't know how big they are. He says they're a large community. But first off, I want to real quick to say something about Walz. As a retired military officer and former enlisted man, sergeant, I don't take stock in deserters.
Based.
Okay.
Based. Absolutely based.
Yeah, he's a deserter, and he was a senior NCO deserter. And I just don't like cowards. I did 20 years. I've been places. No. So he's a nobody, and he belongs in a jumpsuit, an orange one, and hopefully he will be in a jumpsuit. So back to the Somali thing. First off, as an officer, there's one thing you learn. You can never delegate responsibility, only authority. He is responsible for what happened with the Somali fraud. Ultimately responsible, and he deserves jail time.
I'm with you 100%, Gary. I don't know how much faith I have in seeing that actually come to fruition.
Well, if it's happening in Tennessee, it better come to fruition because all these Somali communities that's turning out, one state after another, there's fraud.
Yeah.
So
you ain't
that
lying.
community down there in Shelbyville needs to be investigated for fraud. If they're on the dole, definitely, in terms of welfare. They've got the other scams going,
yep.
Probably daycare. And on top of that, years ago, I learned with some other people at a meeting at a restaurant with some guys that are involved in security, special ops guys, that the Somali restaurant on West End in Nashville, in the back is really, that place is a front for El-Shabaab.
Interesting.
But law enforcement refuses to do anything about it because the pressure from D.C. is to do nothing about it.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I'm sure that pressure system has changed since the election of Donald Trump, and hopefully we do see something done about it. But I appreciate the call, Gary. And if there's any citizen journalists or aspiring citizen journalists that want to dip their toe in the pool, there's your lead from Gary. Go do with that what you will and find out what you can find out. That being said, you know what time it is now. We do it every day at this time. It is time for the world-renowned, at least locally renowned. My wife likes it. It's called the Lightning Round.
It's the Lightning Round with Chris Hand.
We do it every single day at this time. All the stories that we didn't have a chance to get to, stories that wouldn't fill up a whole segment, but stories we want to cover nonetheless. We call it the Lightning Round. And I got some good stories for you today. First story in the Lightning Round. Maybe you remember her. Her name is Hannah Dugan. Hannah Dugan. She was a judge. She was a judge that helped an illegal alien evade capture, at least for a little while. At least he got across the street. I think he got across the street before they got him. Judge Hannah Dugan was that judge in, it was Wisconsin. That's the proper pronunciation in case you're keeping score at home. Judge Hannah Dugan out of Wisconsin has officially resigned from her judge position. Awesome. Awesome. A Wisconsin judge, Breitbart has a story. A Wisconsin judge who helped an illegal alien escape from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials announced she would be resigning from her position in response to unprecedented federal legal proceedings brought against her. Oh, so sad. This is unprecedented. All I did was help an illegal alien domestic abuser escape prosecution. Yeah, no. Miss me with the crocodile tears. Matt Smith, the political director with WISN 12 News in Wisconsin, shared a letter addressed to Governor Tony Evers, the Democrat governor out of Wisconsin, from Milwaukee Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan on X. In her letter, Dugan expressed that the citizens of Wisconsin deserve to start the year with a judge on the bench in Milwaukee County Branch 31. As you know, I am the subject of unprecedented federal legal proceedings, which are far from concluded, but which present immense and complex challenges that threaten the independence of our judiciary.
Bite my shiny metal ass.
Yeah, like the independence to, allow illegal aliens to leave the court and not be deported. Okay. She goes on. I am pursuing this fight for myself and for our independent judiciary. However, the Wisconsin citizens that I cherish deserve to start the year with a judge on the bench in Milwaukee County Branch 31 rather than have the fate of that court rest in a partisan fight in the state legislature.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Dugan continued on to state that it was with a heavy heart that she was submitting this letter of resignation. My faith in God and in our legal system leads me to trust that in the long run, justice will be served for our independent judiciary and for me. Fun fact. My faith in God and in the legal system also leads me to believe that justice will be served in Hannah Dugan's case. However, quite the opposite of what she expects.
Right to jail, right away.
Dugan's letter comes after a Milwaukee jury in December convicted Dugan after she escorted Eduardo Flores Ruiz, an illegal alien, out of her courtroom. The conviction was a result of obstructing an official proceeding by helping Flores evade ICE officials. While Dugan is facing as much as 5 years in prison regarding her conviction as a first-time offender, she expected to receive little to no prison time. You can hit the womp womp again.
If those kids could read, they'd be very upset.
It's the wrong button. There it is.
They're right next to each other.
You got to read the hotkeys.
Okay, you got to read your scripts.
Oh, fair. All right, got another story for you here in the lightning round. Calling this the Middle Tennessee clarinet controversy of 2026.
What?
Okay, it's all of Tennessee. Maybe Middle Tennessee was a bit too small. It's a big deal. There's a guy. He goes by the name James Zimmerman. James Zimmerman is blasting the Knoxville Symphony for inviting him for a blind audition for principal clarinet, which he won by unanimous vote. Okay? So this guy, he goes in there, he does the clarinet thing, and he wows them. People, it was a standing ovation. There wasn't a dry eye. People had been just totally overwhelmed with emotion by this guy's clarinet performance. I'm assuming. I don't know how else you get a unanimous vote. 2 days after receiving the unanimous vote to join the Knoxville Symphony, the CEO of the Knoxville Symphony gave him a call and cited his ousting from the Nashville Symphony 6 years ago because he resisted DEI. He wants his clarinet players to be meritocracy. The Knoxville Symphony said, no, you can't do that. You can't 6 years ago rail against DEI in Nashville and expect to come to Knoxville and play your clarinet beautifully. That's not allowed. In response, he is suing the Knoxville Symphony. He filed a lawsuit 2 weeks ago for a year's salary plus $25,000 for the 100 hours spent practicing for the audition. Said it isn't about money, but it's about pushing back against these symphony CEOs who continue to put race and politics above merit and skill. I love the story.
Loser.
I like the clarinet guy. I'd like him. Sue everybody. He says that someone has to save our symphonies from being sacrificed on the altar of diversity. and no one is better positioned to do it than him. He doesn't want to do it. He wishes he didn't have to, but he's going to do it anyway. He said he was excited to take the stage with the Knoxville Symphony, but instead, he'll see them in court.
That really got out of hand fast.
It did. Nobody expected the principal clarinet guy to have this much fight in him. But he's ready for a brawl. We'll give you updates on this court case as they become available. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. All right, so this is from over the weekend as well. Elon Musk had dinner with the president. People are making a big deal out of it because they say Elon is all in for midterms. And he posted, had a lovely dinner last night with POTUS and FLOTUS. 2026 is going to be amazing. And there's video of Elon hanging out with the president at Mar-a-Lago over the weekend. But a lot of individuals are saying this is proof that Elon is all in when it comes to the midterms. This is proof that he is going to be footing the bill on a lot of the midterms. And then in turn, we're going to have a guy with a lot of money that is going to be able to combat the Soros-funded folks as they try to do battle against the Republicans. We'll see what happens. I don't know. How you feeling about midterms? You feeling good?
Yeah.
I feel the same way. The good part is people have the memory of goldfish, right? As long as good things start happening relatively quickly, especially on the economy front, people are gonna be fine with it.
It's like ordering a steak at a chain restaurant. It's going to be hit or miss. It's either they don't understand the concept of medium rare or it's perfect. Only those two options, though.
There's no in between.
No, it's either burnt tire rubber or correct.
I got time for one more story here in the lightning round. This will be the last story in today's lightning round. Scott Adams, as you know, has been dealing with cancer, and that's sad. That is sad. Have you seen the meme where it's Scott Adams' Splinter, and he's got the little teeny tiny Ninja Turtles, and then the Ninja Turtles grow up, and Scott Adams is now old Splinter, and the Ninja Turtles are escorting old Splinter. So that's Scott Adams, and that's MAGA. Have you seen that meme? It's a good meme. Well, Scott Adams, we don't need the sad violin for this. This is happy. So he's got cancer. He's dying. It's not good. It's not good. But he announced over the weekend that he is converting to Christianity during his last days on earth. God bless him. This is Scott Adams detailing how he came to that conclusion.
I talk about the simulation, and especially when I talk about my own impending death.
He doesn't sound
many of my Christian friends and Christian followers say to me, Scott, you still have time. You should convert to Christianity. And I usually just let that sit because that's not an argument I want to have. I've not been a believer. But I also have respect for any Christian who goes out of their way to try to convert me. Because how would I believe you believe your own religion if you're not trying to convert me?
Right.
So I have great respect for people who care enough that they want me to convert and then go out of their way to try to convince me. So you're going to hear for the first time today that it is my plan to convert. So I still have time. But my understanding is you're never too late.
Amen, brother. And God bless you for coming to that realization. We salute you. Still praying for just a miraculous recovery of health for Scott Adams. And I hope that all of they're doing all sorts of different medicine with him and giving him the best options available. I hope one of them sticks and that Scott is with us for many, many more years. But if he is not, this conversion leads him in a far better place, and for that, we salute him. 11:51, that does it for the lightning round. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville. You get some new guns for Christmas? Well, if you didn't, or if you did, if you're just a gun owner, let's talk about securing your firearms. Don't trust a big box safe. If a teenager can flip your safe over, it's not a safe. Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville provides real law enforcement level security. Aaron Parker is a veteran Air Force security, former park ranger. Now he runs this Christian family business with his sons and his wife. They've been serving Tennessee since 2009. Their safes don't just protect rifles and pistols. They'll protect jewelry, wedding sets, cash, passports, photo albums, you name it, from theft or from fire. They review every safe that they have in stock on Aaron Parker's personal YouTube page. Just search for Parker Safes and Vaults. You'll get an in-depth explanation on all the safes they have. You can make your decision before you even visit the showroom on what you want. You'll find it there on their YouTube page. Or you can just give Aaron a call today, and Aaron will walk you through the whole process. 931-842-6445. That's 931-842-6445. If you need a safe, you got to go to Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville or go to parkersafes.com.
Nicolas Maduro says, I am a decent man. I am the president of my country. Then the judge shut him down. We'll tell you about it at noon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did the judge say you were the president of that country? Is that what happened?
Something like that.
Sir, this is a court of law. Words matter. We're talking past tense.
Yeah, stop stealing our oil.
There we go. Is this the route you're going? It's all about the oil. Is that?
I didn't say that. He did.
Chad's in. We're getting the oil.
He's the one who said it.
It's all about the oil.
Did he not say it though?
Hey, I'm here for it.
He's like, we're going to take the oil. The oil company's like, we don't want to go in there. It's a mess. It's going to cost us a lot. You're not getting your money unless you go in there. We don't want to go in there.
Dude, those oil companies, they fall apart fast if you're not maintaining the infrastructure.
Yeah, and it falls apart so fast, and only Chevron's been operating in there. Everybody else just said, screw it. We don't want anything to do with it.
So I mentioned it earlier in the show, my mother and father-in-law live in St. Croix half the year, and they had Havenza, which is a refinery plant. And, dude, you just let it sit, and that salt air gets in there.
It just destroys those things.
Absolutely corrodes everything.
It doesn't take long.
No, it really doesn't. Even if you were operating at full capacity, you're still going to have, like, the maintenance is still hefty.
Yeah, that's that maintenance to make sure that that it doesn't fall apart, that it doesn't rust, that it doesn't just it's crazy. That's why it's so damn expensive.
It's wild. But I mean, dude, for a country that was the third richest in the Western Hemisphere in 1992. How does it get any worse for the Venezuelans? I mean, at the end of the day, this is going to be a net positive for the people of Venezuela, one way or the other.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'll see who comes out of this. Who's the leader when all is said and done?
Marco,
Viceroy. Marco's like, no. Yes, Marco's got another job. I don't know. We were going to give it to somebody else, but he's the only one I trust.
Yeah, right? Dude. And he was on a tear over the weekend.
Yeah, he was.
Did you see him versus Margaret Brennan? She's like, why didn't you go after all the other people that are on the most wanted list that have been indicted? He goes, oh, so you wanted us to do 5 simultaneous operations in Venezuela?
Well, the guy that runs their police is the most dangerous. He's the most powerful, even more powerful than Maduro. So that guy, he runs the intelligence. It's like the Gestapo, the police.
Is he a Cuban?
He is. I know, but he is. He's got Cubans around him. He's got the good Cubans, not the ones who are like, no, come on, he's in here. We're not dying for this guy. We don't even know him.
He's got the good Cubans, not the cigar Cubans.
Yeah, not the cigar Cubans.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that guy is super. Like, he's the one that everybody, if you're going to worry, it's like mafia. It's just all. It's 50 families that run that country, and there's 5 of them that do, and one of them's gone now.
Well, and the message has been sent. Either you get on board with what the U.S. wants to do.
You get on board with giving us back all of our stuff.
Or you're next. I mean, dude, they took it all. They forced all those companies out in, what was it, 2007?
Yeah.
I mean, that's dicey.
Yeah.
It's a bit shady.
Well, I mean, he used to go in and just, if you watch old things of Chavez walking in and he goes, all of this, like you go into like a Walmart like thing, all of this stuff is free for the people. And then they're like, wait. And then the next week, they're like, there's nothing here. Well, we can't. You just gave away all of our stuff.
I was talking to Sam off the air the other day, not the other day, earlier in the show. And he said that he had a friend from Venezuela who came over to the States and was like, dude, it was amazing to come to the United States and realize you could buy an Xbox at a Walmart.
Yeah. It was crazy.
I do. I think at the end of the day, life is going to get better for the Venezuelans.
Yeah, I think it is too. Oh, I mean, it couldn't get any worse, right? I mean, I think they're, you never know. I mean, hopefully there's no civil war, but there's always a possibility. But it's like anything. It's a hot mess.
Sure
and,
is.
It's going to get messier, but sometimes it happens before it gets better.
But the strength of the U.S. military at this point, does any country want to mess with us after seeing what they were able to do?
No country wants to mess with us anyways.
I mean, but that was wild because China's embedded in there, and they had radar systems from China. They had no warning.
So there's China. Here's the thing: China doesn't have any actual battle tested people. None of their stuff's really been put into any other test outside of themselves.
Right.
So you could say all the things about we run simulations. If that's assuming all their crap works.
Yep.
And that they know what they're doing. They're not going to drop tail and run.
And what we found out over the weekend is some of their crap didn't work the way they thought it was going to work. It's wild. Chad's in next. Looking forward to your show. 1201 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.